You're welcome to Good Morning, Anambra, Monday episode. We are so delighted to have you join us today. My name is Nonye Nwokoye, and today, keeping peace with the borders of a sovereign state or other self-governing territories generally by upholding the national law and defending against the internal security threats is the desire of every nation and her citizens, which also is the primary responsibility of our leaders as the chief security officers. You're welcome to the show. And this morning we are talking internal security, the debate on state police. In the studio, I have some guests who have joined to talk about this issue. Chief Anthony Chibo, who is a public affairs analyst. You're welcome to the studio, Chief Chibo.
Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, Anambra.
All right, we also have Barrister Joseph Ayanti, a legal luminary. Welcome to the studio, Joseph.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
All right. Now, when we talk about internal security, or when we talk about security generally, what do you make of it, sir?
The role of government, the primary role of government, every government, is the security of the citizens, their lives and property. And whenever government is deficient in that area, we begin to see failure on the part of government. Without security, businesses will not thrive. Without security, you can't plan and execute those plans. Without adequate security, the society is shortchanged. So the security becomes important to a point. That is the primary role of government. Except we want to go back to the British, the Hobbesian state of nature.
Okay, what's now the difference? You talk about security. When we talk about internal security, is there any difference to that?
Well, I don't want to differentiate it because it's a holistic topic. Whether it's at the federal level or at the state level, security remains security of lives and property. And inability of government to provide that security is the reason we are talking about security, because it's not being provided as we sit here today.
All right, we'll still get to that. Now, Barrister Ayanti, when we talk about security, there is something that is said that it's the primary responsibility of our leaders. Now, is there anybody, because sometimes you hear our security operatives talk about security is everybody's responsibility. Now, what do you make of it? Is there anybody or any particular person that security is meant for, or a particular group of people that are supposed to be securing us?
Yes. You see, if security is everybody's business, in one way. But when you look at it, we equally at the same time have people that are given that responsibility of guiding us. And that is why you cannot move around, you are not allowed to move around with gun, for instance, because it is the responsibility of the security agencies. And they are employed, they are recruited by the government to take care of security. So, in as much as we agree that security is everybody's business, to some extent, you give the responsibility to some individuals, some agencies. The only thing is that you as an individual has the duty to report. And that is why police will always say, if you see something, you say something. So when you say something, that's saying something, you say it to the appropriate authority. Then they will take necessary step.
Okay, now let's talk about this issue of state police, which started during Buhari's regime. That was when we started hearing of trying to form state policing, whether it's going to be the solution to the myriads of problems of security that we have in Nigeria. Now, when we talk about state policing, what does that mean? Does it mean that the one we already have on ground has failed? Or is there any other thing that we need to know about that?
Well, it is not failure on the part of the central police system. Rather, it is, I would describe it as incapacity. Incapacity in the sense that you have 371,800 policemen policing 200 million people and above. When you look at, contrast it with the UN benchmark, you will now see we are very far from developed capacity to provide security. So that gave birth to the idea that if the police structure, the unitary police structure we are running presently, if it's unbundled and, states are given constitution amended, it's not a one-day game, it's a marathon, it's not a dash. It's not a dash in the sense that there has to be, as it is today, the 1999 Constitution, as amended, gives the legislative mandate to, discuss about security and policing. So for us to reach that level, we have to go through constitutional amendment. The Constitution has to be amended. There is a bill presently in the House of Representatives that have passed second reading, but it's still a tall order. Why is it a tall order? You have to have a concurrence of the National Assembly and then another concurrence of majority of the states of the Federation before you can amend the Constitution to have a law to establish state police. So sometimes politicians, when they're under pressure, they come up with something else to take over the front burner and begin to talk about it as if it's something that you can just do
distract us from what is on ground.
Fiat. So what we are doing now, we are just, this thing has been on. In 2016, there's an organization, a non-governmental organization called CLEAN. They collaborated with Oxford University to develop a monograph for a working paper for the prospect of state police in Nigeria. But that monograph has been gathering dust wherever it is for now. So what we are looking at is the unitary police structure we have at the federal level must be unbundled for effectiveness, more effectiveness. They are doing their best given the limited resources available to them, given the limited manpower available to them. But I believe that if the Nigeria police is unbundled, they can do a lot better. They can hire more manpower. Every state will now begin to address this according to its own peculiarities, and its own challenges.
Okay. Now, when we talk about forming another, because I see it as forming another security body. We have police, we have the army, we have the naval officers. All these are security apparatus we have in place in Nigeria. And now we are talking about state policing. I think that's what we are looking at. One begins to wonder, is there anything that the citizens of this nation are yet to understand about security? Having all this on ground, even the NSCDC, Security and Civil Defense, these are part of security apparatus that we have in place, and we are still talking about state policing. What do you think it's actually going on? Does it mean there's something that all these police apparatus, they are not doing anything, or they're not doing enough, that we are talking about building another police formation, which is state police?
Yeah, thank you. It's not as if these security agencies are not doing their best. The bone of contention is control. You know, when you have state police, then the state police will drive its own powers from the state. And the constitution of the members of that agency will mainly be from the state. You know, this vigilante, why most of the times they are very effective in their work is that they are very familiar with the terrain. When you have state police, for instance, you have the commissioner of police from Anambra. When you say there's security challenges in places like Omasi, Ayamelum, Umerum, Umweje, the commissioner who is from Anambra will know and will understand even the area you're talking about. But if you have somebody from Kaduna or Kano as commissioner of police in the state, in Anambra here, for instance, when you talk, when you say Omasi, the man will even begin to say, do you have any place like Omasi? Do you get the point? So if you have members of that police from the state, they understand the area. That's why people are now saying we need to have people from our side. And again, most of the times when you arrest someone for an offense here in Anambra, by the time you want to take such individual to court, there will be order from above telling the state CID or even the B division here to transfer the case file to Abuja. Or even Zone 13. The matter will be in Zone 13. Before you know it, the accused will write another petition to IG police. And somebody that has committed the crime will be set free at the end of the day. So, this issue of there's order from above, that is what we intended stopping.
All right.
So that within the state, if offense is committed, people they can take care of. If it is federal offense, you transfer, like you have a federal high court and you have state high court, you define their modus operandi, their limitations, they work effectively. And when there is challenges, maybe you have an election, like for instance in Anambra, where you have Apoga and you have APC at the center, then these men, people coming from Abuja and people from the state, will help us to even get the result, because the state, this one will be checkmating the other one.
All right. There is no doubt to what you're saying. It's been said, even when they started talking about state policing, one of the reasons is that these people will know the terrain, just like you have mentioned.
Yes.
Now, I remember there was a time in this Anambra state, most of the police on the roads are Igbos. I remember I saw them. You see their names, all of them, majority, in fact, all of them on the roads. Now we have vigilantes that are from our communities, and yet we are having pockets of crimes here and there. You know, now, what do you think will happen, or do you think state policing is the best option, or is there any magic they are going to do apart from what is already being done in the security of lives and property in our various communities?
Thank you very much. There is no magic wand anywhere by anybody. Okay. What we are suffering from today is a lack of consequences for people for deviant behavior. Okay. When people commit offenses, there are no consequences because the system permits them to get away without consequences. So if you decentralize the police just like that, we'll end up with the same result. But the first and foremost thing is to make the police independent. The police has to be independent of the government of the day, even at the federal level. We don't have any reason to have Ministry of Police Affairs. where a minister is using a 300 million naira SUV to move around, while the policeman cannot buy biro to do his job. So if we make the police independent, at the state level, the police will now begin to look at themselves, assess their capabilities, assess what they have to do, pursue consequences, make it difficult for deviants to get away, have a centralized way of penalizing deviant behavior. That the funds they raise from that penalizing deviant behavior, they can channel it to make their services, their own services better. As it is today, most people don't carry driver's licenses. Most people don't have vehicle particulars, because when you get to the checkpoint, you will bring out something and give somebody, and then life goes on. So if you have a state police, independent, determined that deviance must be checkmated to a point or reduced to a point that we can be able to tolerate. Because you can't wipe out deviance, 100%. But you can, make people to comply. Up to 90-95% is done elsewhere, even in Africa here, in Ivory Coast here. You cannot kidnap somebody and make a phone call to make a demand, and then in the next 20 minutes you are caught. The system will catch you. So if it's possible in Ivory Coast, it should be possible here. But because we have accepted deviance have become our norm, we have decided that we will, even from top to bottom, electoral matters. Where will we start? Where can we end? Even promotion within the police system, the police management system, people who don't have merit to be good managers of the system are there today. So you can't give what you don't have.
And now, why do you think it is state policing that will be the option to getting it right, security-wise?
I've said it. The reason is what I've earlier said. The federal government is giving on, the police is a federal institution. So they get order from the president. Sometimes they get even from president and not even IG. And that is a problem. But if we can have, like he rightly said, an independent commission that will take care of police, then
I think we are trying to misconstrue some things here. We are talking about police being independent, that's what you stated, and we are at the same time talking about state police. The debate has been, which one are we actually?
No, what we are saying is, if you have the police at the state level,
okay,
their welfare and their payment should be consolidated. It shouldn't come from the governor, because he who pays the piper dictates the tune.
Okay.
If you allow the governors to do that, they can, power. They can use the police. But if you have an independent, autonomous body, commission, that will be paying the police, determining their activities, and the disciplinary committee that will take care of them, and not the governor that will just come and stay 4 years or 8 years. So it will work. But the issue and the idea of there's an order from above that this man should be left alone, and you see somebody walking around intimidating people simply because maybe he's a senator or is one popular man. So what we are saying is that if you have security in the state, sometimes they will help to know the criminals. What the problem we have in this country is not as if the police is not working. It's political will to identify the criminals. Because if a policeman die now, within 24 hours, they will arrest the killers. Take it from me. Are we saying that those who kidnap people and receive ransom, that they don't have name and they can't track them? The police has no equipment to track these guys. Are you saying that those people at Borno State, kidnapping people, receiving, imposing levies on farmers. You know where these guys live. So we don't have the political will. That is the problem. But the moment we get state police and somebody at the police level is ready to work, then he will not be ceremonial chief security officer. Because what the governors are, as far as I'm concerned today, they are ceremonial chief security officers. You saw what happened during Wike in Rivers when the DSS came to arrest judges there. And he came and said, I am the chief security officer of this state. You can't take somebody away from here. And if you want to take this, first of all, kill me. It's an embarrassment for a governor of a state to be embarrassed in that way. So that is what we are saying. There's order from above should stop. That order from above should stop. So that governors who want to work, the vigilantes that want to work, they are working. In Anambra State, for instance, there was a time you don't move in the night. Once it's 7 o'clock. But with the help of all these vigilantes, I have served as security advisor at Ayam local government. And I know the work of these vigilantes. When they were giving vehicles, there was a day a crime was committed. Very far place in my community. Within 30 seconds, we were there. All the security, I summoned them. And we got there. So, if governor in a state is ready to fight crime and you have that power as chief security officer, nobody will mess up in your state.
All right, in case you're joining us, is good morning, Anambra. We are talking internal security, the debate on state police. At this point, we're going to take a short break. When we return, we are going to look at the challenges this will face and, of course, the best way to go about it to achieve a better result. That will be after the break. Do join us again, please.
So long as there is an adequate agreement between the state and the federal government, and also if there is no sinister intention to that, especially as it concerns what is happening in Nigeria, the insecurity that we have in Nigeria. So if the motive is actually to curb the insecurity in the states, I think it's a good idea.
Every local government or every state should have the security operatives and join to the government security operatives. That's where things will go where.
The insecurity is everywhere now. Everything now boils down on the government. We're appealing to government to try as much as possible to encourage state police. If they encourage state police, I think everything will be put under control.
Ready for school? Yes! My champs, they use energy at school. I know because imagine the energy they may have used up to return home this transform every day.
Your champs need nourishing energy. Give them the new and improved Milo at breakfast.
It has nutrients that support energy release to help champs get the most out of their active days.
Milo!
All right, you're welcome back to the live studios of Good Morning Anambra, talking internal security, the debate on state police. In the studio, I'm with Chief Anthony Chibu and Barrister Ayanti Joseph talking about this issue. And of course, we've seen that there is no, we can't, it cannot be overemphasized that there is need for peace within our borders, within our communities. That's why everybody or most people are actually, like the Vox Pop we just watched, they say they encourage state police. That shows that people actually, they need peace. That's why they're talking about it. Now, Chief Chibu, when we talk about this internal security, or the debate on police, state police, what do you think are the benefits when we have a state police?
Well, I'm not just going to talk about state police. I have already stated that a precondition is the independence of the institution. Because if the governor has total control over the police, the state police, politics will come into it, and then we will end up where we started. So the state police, one, will look at the state, place the state before them, and like a business organization, fashion out how best to secure the state, set goals for themselves, and achieve those goals. Because the state, the people that will be members of that police force are people from the state. They are not from outside. So the advantages are there. The advantages are there to a point where it becomes difficult for them to arrest a criminal, and a phone call away, that criminal is set free or transferred to somewhere, the matter is transferred to somewhere else. That will eliminate that first. It will enable them to begin to know their areas where these criminals operate from. It will help them to gather intelligence because they are members of the same community. Intelligence gathering is absent today because of inadequacy of manpower. Before, the police used to infiltrate bars, infiltrate hotels, infiltrate places of leisure, mix up with people, and sometimes you can run into these people discussing proposed crime, what they want to do, maybe tomorrow or the day after, how they're going to do it, and then with that intelligence, they can be able to abort it. So state police is going to be of immense benefit to the state if they are independent, if they are not under the governor of the state, so that you remove the abuse from day one. You can look at the federal level. It is an abuse for somebody, a criminal, to be held in Anambra, and while they are processing to charge that criminal to court, an order comes from Abuja, to transfer the matter. And you will be shocked that even the policemen who arrested the person, they are not shocked because it's happening to them. The person will go to Abuja and, and become a free man.
And you think state police can put a stop to this?
State police can put a stop to it if they are independent of the political system. If the state police chief, the chief of police in Anambra, is not appointed by the governor, does not go to the governor cap in hands to beg for money to do one thing or the other, then we can have a system that works.
All right, now, Ayante, I don't know whether there are some challenges that this may face, forming of state police. What challenges do you foresee?
Yes, like you rightly said, if the whole control is on the table of the governor, then we're in trouble. Because during election, the governors will use them. Even local government election that governors have refused to conduct, they will use them, tell them who to deliver, and if you come around, they will deal with you. Then again, there may be clashes between the federal police and that of the state. Because if it's a state where you have a governor from another political party, and you have a president at the center from another political party, be sure that there will be show of power on the day of election. Then that will be a challenge. again, you know, state crime and federal crime, if it's not defined properly by our constitution, then there will be clashes, because somebody may be arrested here in Anambra. Maybe the offense centers on federal drug or whatever. You see the federal police coming in, DSS, say we must get this person to Abuja. Then that is a challenge. Then the issue of state police will help, apart from the ones he mentioned. It will help to reduce the cost people incur during this movement in the police stations. Because if somebody is taken from B division here to zone 13, you know how much that will go out of the person's pocket. Not to talk of when such matter is transferred to Abuja. First of all, our roads are not even safe for you to enter GUO. Then the price of going to Abuja, you know, even if you go through the flight, it's another thing. So it will reduce some of these unnecessary expenses, because at the end of the whole thing, that crime was committed in Anambra. If the person is to be charged, it's going to be in Anambra. So after going to Abuja, if the person is to be charged, IGO police will say, go to a magistrate court in Anambra. The jurisdiction will now come in. So why going to Abuja?
Oh, okay, now this call for establishment of state police did not start today. It started during the previous administration of Muhammadu Buhari.
Yes.
And up till now, we're still calling for the establishment. Now, why do you think this is taking too long to come into place?
Why it's taking too long is very simple. I've said it, no political will. He said earlier that it will take processes from National Assembly, all these things. If we want to achieve it, we achieve it. What happened to Electoral Act? When we are serious, wanted to have a change, though that change was thwarted at the end of the whole thing. If our leaders are sincere, I've said this in severally, even in 2016 when I discussed this with Leo Koye, we're talking about this state, 2016, not even today. I said, I don't think we are sincere enough to do that. And the same thing I'm saying today. We are not sincere as a people. We always hide our ulterior motive inside. Even when we are making laws that will guide people, we still put our interest in it. That was why the transmission of electoral result was thwarted. What is too big about it? That you transfer, look at America. Any election primaries, Trump is, you see the result, that Trump is winning, that this person is following. What is difficult about it? So, if we want to get state police, it will come even as an executive bill. The state governors will meet with the president. And they will agree on this, send it into National Assembly. National Assembly will look at it, send it to state assemblies. State assemblies will always have concurrence with the governor. So when the governor says, yes, we are going with this, he will lobby. The autonomy of local government up to today, we have not succeeded in it because the governors have interest. They always connive with the state assembly to say no. So if the governors actually need state police, and the federal government is sincere and say, yes, we want to have it, they will go back to their state assemblies and tell them this is what we need. After all, vigilantes are working. We have a medical in Ogun State, Southwest. You have vigilante in Anambra State who are doing good job. So why are we like this? Is simply because the leaders are not telling themselves the truth. They don't want this country to work.
All right, if you actually believe that state policing is a right thing or a good thing to be done, seeing that everybody needs this peace and wants it at all costs, what are the best ways to go about this, to be able to, you know, have it in place and, of course, help us to achieve the best results?
There is a bill, like I said earlier, presently in the House of Representatives that have passed the second reading. But you need the concurrence of the entire National Assembly and 2/3 of the state assemblies. Some of these governors, they collect their allocation from Abuja. They remove their security vote. Their security vote, some of them, you ask them, they say their security vote is not something they should discuss with anybody. It's their own, they have 100% decision to make on the security votes. Now, what does it mean? Some governors will not want to lose that money they're making from the security vote. Some governors who are not able to pay salary, I don't want to mention them, but there are many state governors who are unable to pay 30%, 30,000 as minimum wage when it's not even tenable as we are sitting here today. Now, those governors will fight against state police, especially if those police will be independent. Because the independence of the police in a state means that the state can investigate a sitting commissioner, say in Anambra State, investigate him, get what they can call overriding evidence, and take it to a judge to raise a warrant to arrest that commissioner. So some governors wouldn't want that to happen. So they are going to be, the political class will be the clog in the wheel of actualizing state police, because it may clash with their interests, their personal interests, because they are all working for themselves. They are not working for you and I. If they are working for you and I, we will have only 371,800 policemen in this whole federation, out of which about 120,000 is they are following VIPs around. So the political class must come to a point where they are looking at implosion, yet they are behaving as all is well. All is not well.
And the state police, I don't know, is it going to override the vigilantes we have on ground? Because seeing that Amoteco is seriously in operation in the southwest, is state police going to override? We have vigilantes in this part of the country. Is the state police going to override them? Are they going to build them together, you know, for the common good?
Vigilante.
To
To some extent, there are powers the law did not give to vigilante.
Okay.
They are only there to arrest and hand over to police. So when you talk of police, police is an agency authorized by our constitution to prosecute. So, and remember, we have local government. Because if the governors will allow our local government to work, the vigilantes will be taking care of the local government areas, because they mainly came from that area, the grassroots, and they know the criminals from the community. It's the failure of that tier of government that we are now still using vigilante from at the state level. But if we have effective police in the state, then you can talk of vigilante.
And how do we now have that effective police? Because that's what an average individual will ask.
If
because
we have independent commission that will take care of it. The problem we have with the judiciary today is that the judge is appointed by the governor. So he who pays the piper
dictates.
So if we have independent police that can do their work without looking at faces. If I am the commissioner of Anambra, then if anything happened at Ihiala, I will be able to look at it and say, this is exactly what. And you have sincere people. Because the problem we have in this country is sincerity. We don't have sincere people. Even if you put someone there as commissioner from Anambra, then, and he's coming from a community, what will be the reaction of that man if a crime is committed in his own community? That is the question we also ask. Because you see the judge, the symbol of judiciary, a woman that covered with the eyes.
Lady of justice.
The point is, when your son or your daughter is involved, how do you react as a human being? So these are the issues. If we have state police, they will collaborate with the vigilante. What we are saying is, let there be synergy. Get intelligence. Okay. Intelligence is very, very necessary. And that is even why the government introduced whistleblower. Come and give us information. We will not review your identity. But what happened at the end? People get...
I wanted to ask whether it's still working.
So that was why the issue of whistleblowing stopped.
Yes.
Most people
because I cannot give you information and endanger my life.
Most people watching us now will be like, these people, you're just talking. Because we are Nigerians. We've been here. We have, like I said earlier, we have the police, we have the army. Now we are talking about state policing. Now, what's your strongest conviction that this is going to work when actually it's put in place?
Well, my conviction is numbers. The numbers today, they don't count. Why? If you add all the security agencies, police, army, navy, DSS, NDSC or whatever they call it, NSDC. If you add them together, they don't have up to 1 million personnel to service a country of 200 million plus. I started the example of Egypt. Population, accurate population, 80 million. Police population, 4 million. Tell me why somebody will commit a crime in Cairo and get free. He can't go free. So the system, the police, and the unitary police system, first, unbundling that system is to the advantage of the Nigerian citizen. Second, bringing it lower, to the state level, making them independent of the state governors, fashioning out a way of, appointing the police chief, if we have to make it an electoral position like it is somewhere else. Yes, we make it. So that somebody can come in. You can come in, you can be a professor of crime, say in UNIZIC, and you decide that you'll be police chief of Anambra State. You run for election, 4 years election, and become the police chief, and set agenda for yourself to make it impossible for crime to thrive in Anambra. So, and that will create room for further unbundling of the police system. Elsewhere, the system we are copying, the presidential system we are copying, where it is being practiced, they have county police, that is local government police. They have city police. So in Oka now, you have a police chief in Oka whose duty is to secure Oka. He will have Oka, he will put Oka on the radar in his office every morning and make sure that if there are any flash points, his boys will be there in 2 minutes. Yeah. That is, we can do it. It's not rocket science. We can do it if we want to do it. Of course, those people who are going to do it will be well remunerated. I said here that Minister of Police Affairs is driving a bulletproof SUV. Do you get what I'm saying? Minister of Police Affairs. The policeman on the street don't have biro. So we are running a system that doesn't work. Like he said, we are telling ourselves, we are lying to ourselves. And they believe in these lies, that these lies will one day turn into something else. No, they can never turn into something else.
How I wish and pray that most of the things we say here, will be translated into actions. Nigeria will be a beautiful place to actually live in and enjoy. But let's keep hope alive that it will get better. I would like to appreciate you guys so much for being here this morning. Barrister Joseph Ayanti, a legal luminary. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
And thank you so much, Chief Anthony Chibu. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I'm delighted to be
All
part
right,
of the
let's not
discussion.
forget that we have to put our hands on deck to make Nigeria great again. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. Thank you so much for being a part of the show this morning. And of course, congratulations to me. It's my 24th wedding anniversary. Until I come your way again tomorrow, it's a bye from here.